Well, hello and welcome to the channel. My name's Johnny and you're watching Hillbilly Modeling. So it's time for a new kit to build and this is going to be it. So I'm going to do an aircraft this time, specifically a helicopter. And this is the Bell OH-13 Sioux by Italeri. Kit number 2820 and it's in 1/48 scale. And yeah. Kind of a nice little build here, I hope. One of the things that really attracted me to this helicopter is all this lattice work right here. It looks complicated, I know. But I think it just looks really, really interesting. So, and it being an older helicopter, something maybe it would look unique on the model shelf. Now, this helicopter was featured in that old Korean War movie or series that was on TV called MASH. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's definitely an old enough series that you guys can. You can still catch it. It's still running on classic TV. So, yeah. So that's what we're going to build. So let's jump down to the bench here and take a look. So we'll just quickly go over the box. Like I said before, it's a Bell OH-13 Sioux. Now, Bell named their helicopters after different indigenous tribes of the Americas, so that's very appropriate for the way that they like to do that. And if we look down here, it has the Super decals sheet for 6 different versions, and so we have our English or American, I should say, American, British, German, who's this, Italy, Spain, and Australia. Look at that. And of course the figures are not included. And just in case you're wondering, you know, boy, I don't really want to do figures. Well, don't worry about it. There's none in this kit. And it's also a Bell Helicopter official licensed product. So that's kind of neat. Looking here at the side of the box, we have all of our different languages here that are represented from the, well, not exactly. Let's see. There's an additional language here, which happens to be Russian. So, but it's all the basically the history. Yeah, so they like to put that on there. I imagine that's on the instruction sheet too. So that's that side of the box. We flip on around and we have just the primary information, Italeri and the Sioux helicopter, along with the kit number and scale, and of course our graphic. Now this side of the box, we've got a nice side profile of it here, and that appears to be the Italian version that's in the box, which I think is a Navy version. I don't know what the giveaway is. So we also have a picture, a representation there of the decal sheet that comes in this kit, because that is the big feature of this release. And let's see, and on the back we have the 6 different versions of this helicopter that the decal sheet includes all the markings for. So that is very nice, very colorful. And we do have some common color callouts here. Say that 10 times fast. Common color callouts. Wow. So we got metallic flat steel, or yeah, metallic flat steel. I guess that's what that's supposed to be. And then we've got flat black and then flat gun metal. So those apparently looks like colors that are going to be used on all the helicopters, along with the other colors for achieving the whichever version that you choose to build. And it's kind of nice that they've done this so that you know what colors are there. Now I believe these are the Italeri type paints. Well, when we get in the instructions, we'll see. I hope. So it does tell us that it is for 14 years of age and older. So, all right, that's pretty much it. So it is the end open type box there. And we just pull out everything here. And so we get our sprues all in a bag right there to include our clear plastic there. That's our bubble type canopy. And it's all, it's in a separate bag inside there. We'll pull that out later. And we have our instructions. I don't think there's anything else left in here. No, it's empty. Instructions. Oh, here we go. Instructions and our decals. So our decals are right there. So let's break all this down into little components here. We'll go over the instructions first there. See what we're going to be building. Now, if at any time while we're going through our instructions, if there's something that you want to see or study closer, just pause the video on whatever device that you're viewing it on. So here we go. It's Italeri, made in Italy. 1/48 scale, and kit number 2820 there. And we have our English and French and Italian and Espanol. So our Spanish, our German, and our Russian. So there we go. We have a warning: model for adult collector, age 14 and over. So model for adult collector, age 14 and over. So I guess that would depend upon what country you're in, whether or not being 14 constitutes being an adult. I guess, I don't know. All right, so we do have a read before you start kind of thing, more just about sharp knives and stuff like that. And that's in our, there's 6 languages right there that is in. They included English, but they did not include American, so yeah. I'll have to struggle with that. So we have our sprue map here, and we apparently only have 3 sprues, A, B, and C being our clear parts there. And we have suggested colors here, which is more or less. So we have FS and Italeri acrylic, which is AP. If I just look a little closer, I'll figure it out. I'm assuming that's a Tamiya color. That's where I know. Is that where FS is from? I'll have to. I don't think I use FS. I use, yeah. No, that's XF. So FS, I don't know. I don't know who you are. So, something for me to look into, I guess. But you know me, I'm probably going to use the craft paints anyway. So we do have one little shaded area right here on sprue B. I don't know what the part number is, but they do have our, speaking of which, they do have our part numbers actually on the sprue map, so that's good for us. But there's one part there that won't be used in the building of this kit. Now, it does have 2 different runner sets. I can see there. Our landing skids. So, depending upon what version you're building, and I think it has, yeah, it's got 2 tail rotors, too. Right there, 47 and 46. And we're just looking at instructions. We're not building. Step 1, we are, and this is that long fold out type instructions that we all know and love. Step 1 here, we start building up. It looks like our cooling fan. It's an oil cooler, pulley and fan belt. Our 6-cylinder opposing cylinder engine there. Oil sump area there. Valve covers and intakes, it looks like there. And then we have exhausts Very, very interesting there. And they even give us a diagram, because that was in step 2 there. And they give us a diagram here showing the side view of the engine so that we'll know how our pipes, I guess, are supposed to be aligned there. So that's nice that they did that. Step 3 goes on to build up our cockpit area there. Flip it on over to step 4. Here we're assembling the tail boom and engine area. And then in step 6, it looks like this is where we need to choose it says alternative tail rotors. So depending upon your version that you're building, it will determine whether you're using 46B or 47B for your tail rotors. And it's nice that it appears, yep, they have. If you look right here, 42B, it's telling us it's on B sprue. 49C, I'm assuming, is on C sprue, which is our clear parts. And then 38A, it's on the A sprue. So that's helpful. Very helpful. So after we build up here in step 5, we've got the boom assembly, tail boom assembly here. We do have some supporting bracing here that goes on top. And we're supposed to install our engine and all these other components there. Along with that before mentioned tail rotor that we have to choose. So as you go through these, the important thing is to make sure that you're paying attention to what version that you're building, so that whenever you're given an option, you know you're using the correct part for it. Step 6, we're getting into building up our cockpit area there. And here is, apparently we have decals for our seat belts. And we continue on with the assembly and attachment of the cab, or I keep calling it a cab, a cockpit area. There we go. Step 7, we have a choice to make on fuel tanks. And it always tells us very clearly here, alternative for versions C and D, they use these type of tanks. And then for versions A, B, E, and F, we use the other style. So also, we have for A, C, and F, these antennas, I think, is what those are. I mean, we have this other antenna too, but we have a different type of antenna there to go on. Flip it all over here to step 8. This is where we have to decide what type of landing skids we're going to be using. You either have to build it up like so, or the single molded piece, apparently. And then these wheels that are optional, they go on versions A and F, and then B, C, D, and E. So just pay attention to that. Now, step 9, we have some machine guns. Now, these are M60 machine guns, apparently. So we have a mount for that with ammo can and our feed tray. We have to build 2 of these, and that's for versions A and F. So I know A is the American one. We'll have to look at F and see. I bet you it's Australian. So then we have our rotor, a main rotor to assemble there, and I think it's called a masthead. I don't really know. I'm not a helicopter guy, but I know some of you guys are helicopter guys, so you go ahead and straighten me out on that right there. What that shaft is called, with our pitch control and everything. And then on to step 10, final assembly. Not a lot to do there. It's our canopy and doors. I guess it's optional. I think they were removable on the actual aircraft, so you can decide to either leave the doors on or take them off, whatever you want to do there. The attachment of our armaments here if we're going to make it into a gunship, A and F versions. And then the attachment of our main rotor there. Aha! Here we go. This is interesting stuff here. We have quite a few. Let me get this situated for us so we can see what we're doing here. So just like on the back of the box, we have a much more detailed. I guess it's easier just to show you one. And we'll pick the United Kingdom 1976 version there, just to show you how they've got this laid out for us. They have the colors here, which is really important. I guess these are basically the ones that are not. Yeah, I guess it's not called out in the rest of the instructions, maybe. But really wanted to point out like our main rotor, because we have a view of the helicopter from above, and then we've got a view from below. And if you can see, our main rotor here is green, and then from the underside it is apparently flat black. So you see that right there. So this is very helpful. Also, we can take a good look and see what type of probably what type of landing skids we've got there. So let's take a look at a couple of others here. Yeah, so they're calling out all these different colors here for that specific build. So get back to here. We're just going to go over each one of them that we got our markings for. This is the U.S. Army one, 9th Cavalry Regiment, 1st Squadron, South Vietnam, 1966. And then for the British version, that's the decals that are in here, is the Royal Army Air Corps, United Kingdom, if I can say that, United Kingdom, 1976. And then we have the Luftwaffe, FFSS, and I'm not even going to try to say that, but there you go. Fosburg, West Germany, 1970. Very interesting color scheme there. Kind of looks like the Red Baron, doesn't it? Next up, we have Marina Militare Italiana. And that is 1956. And I'm probably slaughtering this. This is, I won't even try. You guys can see. This is 1968 for the Spanish version here. And then we have our Australian Army version, 161st Independent Reese Flight, Vung Tau, South Vietnam, 1966. So, yeah. And that's it. So there's our instructions. Voice crack there. Instructions. Now let's not forget about our decals or decals here. So right off bat, I'll tell you that they are glossy, as you can see. But a lot of aircraft have glossy finishes, so that's not that big of a deal. And then again, I mean, you can always tone it down. But I can tell you right now, I can feel them. They are pretty prominent. Kind of reminds me of the, say, Tamiya type decals, kind of thick. But the other thing I will say is that if you look closely, there is no excessive carrier film protruding out around all the detail there. So the printed section is, I mean, it's pretty much really, really close. So we're not going to have a whole lot of excessive carrier film, which is good for us. Don't have to worry about trimming off all that excess. That's nice. And these decals are, oh, seat belts. Almost forgot to mention them, and they even marked them for a seat belt. So those are in decal form. Now, if you want to make your own, that's fine. Or I don't know if there's decals or say PE sets for this. I haven't looked, but now these decals are printed in Italy, printed by Sanchetti Buccinasco, I think. And is that Milan, Italy? Maybe. Very nice, though. Oh, and let's mention this, too. They do have them laid out for whichever version there that you're going to be building. A, B, C, D, E, and F. Very nice. I don't know how well they come off the sheet and how well they go on and settle, but that's our decals. And we do want to put our wax paper back onto them there to protect them. So our first sprue that we're going to look at is going to be A. So that's sprue A. And it has the left side of our tail boom. And got all that tubular welded detail there. And then we have our seat. A little bit of texturing there. That's good. And then this is the back of the cockpit area. And we do have our engine, which is a 6-cylinder opposing. As you can see, 3 cylinders on each side. And then I think this is the oil sump for it. Our cylinder heads. And there's an oil cooler there. Fan belts. This is an antenna. Is that an antenna also? Maybe. And then we have our M60 machine guns. Now these M60 machine guns look really good for this scale, because as you know, 1/48 is kind of small when you're talking about handheld weapons, and these were just handheld weapons that were mounted basically to the skids. So not too bad detail there. And we have our long shaft that goes down our tail boom there, with all the little brackets and everything on it, to drive our tail rotor. And our counterbalance there for our main rotor. Here are our main rotor blades. Let's just check and make sure that there's no ejector pin marks on those, and they look fairly straight. That's always good to have when you're building a helicopter. And we got ammo cans, I think, and there are these skids, or not skids, but brackets here for our machine guns. And we have those wheels. Those are the auxiliary wheels there for moving the aircraft around on the ground. So here we have the skids that you have to build up. And depending upon what version you're building, we have the other type skids. That bow, it's got that nice curve on it there. So that's sprue A. Oh, before we go, let's look really good here. Yeah, I think this is like a trademark of Italeri here. As you can see, that seam line. It kind of looks like flash, but it's really not flash. It's like the dimensions are different on one half of the mold versus the other. So we'll have to clean all that up, because those are all supposed to be round tubes. A little annoying, but I mean, it's kind of pronounced there. But that's all right. We can sand all that out, kind of smooth it out a bit. Oh, and we do have some ejector pin marks, like in the four corners here. And this is on the inside of the cockpit, so we're probably going to want to clean those up. They're very shallow, though, so it shouldn't be much of a problem. Probably could just sand them out. Yeah, okay, so that is sprue A. Next up is sprue B. Now we have the right side of our tail boom, and it suffers from the same little issue. Yeah, same little issue there. Have to clean those up with the tubing and all. And then here is the section that goes across the top of our tail boom. All that lattice work there. And then we have two sets of fuel tanks, so depending upon which one you want to build. These are the tall tanks. And then over here we've got the flat tanks, which might just be the same tank, except it's kind of laid over instead of, I don't know, I'm just guessing. But volume-wise, I think they're probably the same. So you want to pay attention to that when it comes to which version of the helicopter you're building. And that's that center console there for our instrument cluster. And our cooling fan for our engine. And here's our tail rotors. So there are two different tail rotors. As you can tell, there is a slight difference between them. So you're going to want to pay attention to that, which one we need to use for whichever version we're building. And that is our instrument cluster. And as you can see, it doesn't have any needles or markings on them, so we either got to get creative or, do something there. Now, there is no decal for our instrument cluster, so it's kind of up to us to take care of that. This is the floor area for the cockpit. Got a little bit of texture there. Not a lot, but a little bit. And this is the bottom of the oil cooler for the engine, I think, with some lattice work there. And we got our intake tubes. I think that's what those are, and exhaust tubes. And this is the upper structure for where our rotor hub comes up. This is definitely an exhaust. So, nice detail. Now, this right here is an antenna, and I think it's kind of thick. We might want to think about that, because it should be much thinner than that. I mean, the center portion of it is okay, but I'm not sure about all that. We'll think about that when we go to build it. So that is sprue B. So here are our clear parts. And we have two doors. And then our windscreen, which is rather large, of course, because the whole front of this thing is a windscreen. So doesn't look too bad. I mean, you can really see through it, no problem. A little bit of distortion there, but you're going to get that, with the curve, because this is very curved. So not in bad shape at all there. And we do have our little light here. There's a little bitty light right there. I think that goes on our about the center of the tail boom. So those are our clear parts, and we are going to put those back in the bag so we don't get them all scratched up until we get ready to use them. So this kit had 4 releases. Ours is the last release from 2021 with all the extra markings, the decal sheet and everything. But originally when it came out, it was a 1998 release, and this is kit 857, and that's the original. And then they released this kit the next year, so this is 1999. This is kit number 859. As you can see, it's a U.S. Coast Guard helicopter, and it's got those really significant floats there on it, and I think that would be a really unique chopper to build. And then there was the next release with a new box art there, and this is the kit number 0857S, and that was released in 2012 with the addition of the Australian markings. And of course, our latest release, the 2021, has the Australia markings plus the German and the French and the Spain. So that's what we have there for our build. So yeah, that's going to be our next build of the Bell OH-13 Sioux helicopter. Now this kit was released in, its first release was 1998, so. And I don't think they really updated the parts any more than what we saw there with that specific helicopter with the floats on it, the Coast Guard one, which looks like a very interesting helicopter to build. So if you're interested in that, look for that kit. And yeah, so that's it. So special thanks to all my subscribers. Because of you guys that I make these videos, and I hope that you enjoyed this one. And if you are new to the channel, I hope I earned your subscription today. So I'm going to get to work on this, and I guess I'll see you guys next Friday. So till then, stay safe.